if the president decides that the negotiations are absolutely going nowhere, then there will start to be layoffs. But I think that everybody's still hopeful that when we get a fresh start at the beginning of the week, that we can get the Democrats to see that it's just common sense to avoid layoffs.
And that's White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett this weekend, warning federal layoffs are coming as the government shutdown now enters day 6. The Senate is expected to hold another vote tonight. It's a critical vote on the 2 funding proposals. Of course, the Republicans' clean short-term bill and a counter-proposal from Democrats, which include the subsidies of Obamacare. Both bills need 60 votes to pass, but Democrats are firmly opposed to the Republican-backed measure. They want to be against President Trump. That would extend government operations through November 21st. Joining me now is Texas Congressman Keith Self. Congressman, good to see you. Have you had any conversations about this? What do you think is the very latest here?
Well, the Republican conference is getting regular updates from the speaker and the leadership. So, yes, absolutely. And I believe that we have done our job. I mean, you've heard it 1,000 times and you will again. We've done our job. We've passed a clean CR that the Democrats used to like to vote for. Now they want. I think they're locked in internal conflict between Schumer and AOC. But the nation is hurting because of that. Now, this president saying that we are going to have layoffs, that should move the ball.
It should move the ball, but, I mean, we're moving the ball until November, right? I mean, once you, let's say, hypothetically speaking, you get the necessary votes you need, and the Senate passes this CR. You're only funding government until mid-November, then you've got to do it again. So do you have confidence that you'll get enough appropriations bills done in the next couple of weeks before the middle of November to actually have a little more strength next time around? Or are the Democrats going to do this again in the middle of November?
I have no confidence that the 12 appropriations bills will all be passed both from the House and the Senate across the president's desk. So, yes, you're exactly right. We're going to do this again on November the 21st. The only the worst part about it is that those subsidies that you mentioned in your lead-in are going to be now known to the people. The insurance companies are using this opportunity to put out egregious increases in those subsidy premiums. So they are playing the game to continue their gig of getting federal dollars, sometimes where there are no claims. The insurance companies are driving this. Make no mistake about it.
Wow. Well, I don't know. Kenny Polcari, jump in here. When does it start to become a worry for markets? So far, you know, the stock market doesn't really care. They're not expecting this to impact earnings, which, of course, drives stocks. Earnings season begins later on this week, Kenny. But is there a point that this does become an issue for investors?
I think if this drags on another week or so beyond this week, if we go into a third week, that it's going to start to just cause some unrest in the markets. We may see the market just pull back because it's more frustrated. Congressman, I think the idea that AOC is in charge of this with Chuck Schumer, where are the rest of the moderate Democrats that need to come to the table and understand why are we in this situation between Schumer and AOC? Or at least that's kind of the narrative that the country is being told.
Did you say moderate Democrats? Please introduce me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I understand. I mean, look, we had John Fetterman on the other day, and John Fetterman told me, you know, Senator from Pennsylvania, it's never good to have a government shutdown, right. And I would never vote for one. That's why he was one of only 2 Democrats to actually support Republicans in all of this. All right, let me move on to global affairs, Congressman, because U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner are set to meet with Hamas delegation and Israeli officials in Egypt. They're working toward finalizing this deal based on President Trump's Gaza ceasefire plan. The president said that the first phase of his plan should be completed this week. He's warning of massive bloodshed if delays continue. And under this plan, Hamas is supposed to release the remaining 48 hostages, 20 of which are believed to be alive. That's supposed to happen within 72 hours. Do you think it happens?
It could start to happen. But look, after my years of service in the Middle East, I have no faith that Hamas is going to abide exactly by the parameters of President Trump's plan. President Trump put together a wonderful plan. Executing it now is up to Hamas. I think the Hamas will drag this out. We might see some hostages, but Hamas understands that once they release the hostages, the leverage is gone. They will not give up their weapons, and accept exile, unless they intend to morph into some new organization, not Hamas, but with exactly the same goal. Not a new Palestinian state, the destruction of Israel.
Unbelievable. You know, the president is doing so much. We'll have to just wait and see if Hamas accepts this deal and releases the hostages. But while the president is trying to do peace plans and tax deals, he's also trying to end this crime wave across the country. California Governor Gavin Newsom is now suing the Trump administration again, this time over the deployment of 300 California National Guard personnel to Oregon. A federal judge blocked that order late last night. Newsom said on X, quote, "We just won in court again." A federal judge blocked Donald Trump's unlawful attempt to deploy 300 of our National Guard troops to Portland. The move coming just one day after a federal judge blocked the president's order to deploy Oregon National Guard troops in Portland, Congressman. How is the president going to end this crime wave if he keeps getting resistance at every turn?
Well, and frankly, this judge does not understand the 10th Amendment, because the federal government pays for National Guard troops, vast majority of the payment. So under Title 10, the president can mobilize troops and federalize them. Gavin Newsom can do it under Title 32 as a governor, but the president has the authority to mobilize these. And think back to Arkansas, when the president sent troops into Arkansas. Do you think the Arkansas governor, for the desegregation move by the president, agreed to those troops come into Arkansas? Absolutely not. There is precedent for this. President Trump needs to press forward, take it as high as he needs to in the judiciary, for them to recognize that Title 10 gives him the authority to federalize and mobilize National Guard troops.
All right. We will be watching that. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks so much for weighing in on all of that.
Thank you, Maria.
Keith Self joining us. Thank you, sir.